Your host, my co-host is Teddy Covers, and we got a wonderful show lined up today. Tons of actionable betting information coming your way. We got Marco D'Angelo joining us right off the bat. He's going to take apart the Nebraska USC game, and he's also going to look at the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game in football this coming Sunday. A big game at that, one I will have on the main TV. Kyle Anthony after him. John Jones is fighting, everybody, and this is probably the UFC fight of the year. He's fighting Stipe Miocic. Kyle Anthony is going to take that game apart, and he's also going to look at Marcin against Diniz. We've got Dave Sharapan at the end of the show. Somewhere we're going to discuss Thursday night football, and somehow we're going to take apart the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight. Where and when we wait. Teddy Covers, what's your big game breakdown, and how are you, my friend?
What bettors learned today? We're going to talk about Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco once again as the Colts make another QB switch. And, of course, today's big game breakdown, we'll talk about Texas and Arkansas, national TV battle, early start on Saturday. Today, well, I've had better days, Lawrence. I went 0-2 last night, not happy about it one bit.
Well, I mean, listen, dude, you're 67% your last 4 days of betting. The stuff is going to happen. You're not Marco, and I'll explain that in a second. So yesterday, Teddy Covers and I get on the show. We put out a really great promo. Thanks to everybody who took advantage of that. It's the Odd Couple promo. We do run this from time to time. Buy 3 days of Teddy, get 3 days of me for free, or vice versa. Teddy rolling even after a bad day yesterday, 67% in the last 4 days. And I'm about 64% in the last week of betting and destroying NBA, NHL, and college basketball. And I say all of this because, Teddy, I got super pumped, man. I was like going to brag to Marco. I was going to be like, take that, Marco, you dog. I'm kicking your ass. I'm rolling. You can't roll like me. No one's better than me. I'm the freaking man. And then the schmuck goes on a freaking run that kills both of us. How are you, Marco?
I'm doing good, Prez. Thank you. That was a great introduction. And I also want to congratulate you, Prez. You finally made your way on to Bet On It. Your pitcher was on Bet On It yesterday. You came in with the buy one, get one free promo yesterday, and I saw that mugshot come up, and that was the first thing that I said. Well, Prez can no longer say that I haven't had him on Bet On It. There you go, my friend.
So, for the record, I am Bet On It. So, yeah. And I do my own show, Marco. It's called the NFL Presidential Address. You can find it at WagerTalk.tv. It is the single best NFL betting show on the planet. I've watched Bet On It twice, bro. It's amazing. I mean, it is one of the most spectacular shows you'll ever watch. But, brother, no matter how hot Charlize Theron is, she ain't the hottest. And it's okay to be really, really hot, but not the hottest. Marco D'Angelo, let's take apart Nebraska at USC. Nebraska plus 9.5. How are we betting this game?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're a Cornhusker fan, you got to feel like you're watching the movie Groundhog Day on endless loop, because here they are in the exact same spot they were last year. 5 wins, 4 games to go, and they didn't become bowl eligible. This is a Nebraska team that hasn't made a bowl game since 2016. Well, their last game, they were sitting with 5 wins, 4 to go, and they proceeded to lose to UCLA. Now, before we push the panic button and say, oh, here we go again with Nebraska, I'm going to give them a pass on losing to UCLA for 2 reasons. One, UCLA surprisingly has been playing a lot better than most people thought they would this year in the Big Ten. And 2, we always talk about a team can lose the same game twice. And if you remember, 2 weeks ago when they played UCLA, that was the game right after they played Ohio State, and they took Ohio State to the limit, almost knocked off Ohio State, losing by just 4 in the shoe in Columbus. So I think they came back home and they were flat to start that game, and UCLA took advantage of it. Now they've had 2 weeks to prepare. They're heading to the West Coast to play USC. And I know you're going to say, well, USC, is a better team, a bigger name than UCLA, coming in here. No, not really. They're 4-5 this year. Then you're going to say, well, they need 2 wins. They got to win 2 of their last 3 games to become bowl eligible. If you're USC, you're going to really tell me you're excited about making a crappy bowl game at 6-6 or 7-5 if you run the table? When you go to USC, that's not what you're looking for your season goals. And they've got 2 games after this, and both of them mean a heck of a lot more to USC. They play UCLA next. That's their rival from the Pac-12 that went with them to the Big Ten. That's a big game. But even bigger than that is the last game of the season, where they have Notre Dame. And if they beat Notre Dame, they, give Notre Dame their second loss of the season and gives Notre Dame the boot out of the playoffs. That is what they care about. I'm going to take Nebraska in this one. I like their defense, and I always say, give me the better defense. Getting points, I'm going to be there. I think this game is going to go right down to the wire. And you know what? I'm taking them plus the points, but just put a small sprinkle as well on Nebraska, is I've got them pulling the upset 24-23.
So is your argument here that USC just doesn't care about this game because they have bigger games on deck? They're 4-5. They need this win every bit as much as Nebraska, and they're the better of the 2 teams, aren't they? Are they the better of the 2 teams?
If they want to play. But as I just said, Teddy, if you go to USC, is your season goal to finish at 500, 6-6 or 7-5 and go to a shit bowl? No. We see teams that opt out of the bowl games all the time. I don't see them taking the intensity in this game as Nebraska. It means more to Nebraska to get to a bowl game. Plain and simple, because the bowl game that USC would get to, even if they run the table, is not going to be a good one.
Marco D'Angelo joining us, everyone, co-founder of WagerTalk.com. And Teddy, I want to let you know, we've Natural 8, one of our best listeners ever. He's having issues today. He rated the NFL shows, and he gave Bet on It. Bet on It was the second highest rated show in Natural 8's opinion. Teddy's opening line report was the number 1 show.
Sure.
Now
I don't think it's close.
I have threatened him with a ban in the chat room. I'm like, Natural 8, we are banning you. And you know what he wrote? I stand my ground in the face of a ban.
Natural 8 tells it how it is. Now, look, we got lots of good NFL content on this show, but if I'm ranking them the same way Natural 8 does. Opening line report 1, Bet on It 2, presidential address after that. Thank you,
guys.
Natural 8.
If you like what you're watching, please take a second out of your day and hit that like button. And also, watch all 3 of those shows every week from now on and rate them every single week, please.
Sure.
That'll work out really well for all of us. Marco,
did you see what Dan Alexander just wrote in the chat?
Oh, no. What did he write?
It's worth mentioning right here. Where'd he put it, though? Oh, he sent it to me. Sorry. That's why he didn't see it.
As a producer for all of those great shows, I can confirm that the NFL presidential address is the single best way to start your NFL prep week. Thank you, Dan.
That's not exactly what he wrote. Yeah, but he wrote the opening line report on Monday morning, nice and early Monday morning. Get your week started every week with the NFL opening line report. Myself and Drew Martin right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Marco, let's talk some games.
So wait, Teddy, I visited you guys live last week. You didn't even know that. So, Marco, we got Baltimore playing Pittsburgh. Bugger off, Teddy. Get off the screen. I don't need to. Marco, we got Baltimore playing Pittsburgh this coming Sunday. A huge game, like a massive game. And I think a statement game for Pittsburgh in the sense that nobody really expected what they are doing this year. Man, Mike Tomlin is a good coach. You want to talk about the total in this game. And I look at this game and I'm like, 48? I don't know if people realize this, but every second game, Baltimore puts up 41 points. They put up 35 last game, 41. 24 the game before, 41. 30 the game before, 41. How the hell is this number so low? Is there some kind of hurricane tsunami coming through Pittsburgh that I'm not familiar with?
Well, historically, Prez, this has not been an over.
So, 17-10 the last two games in a row. I think you're right. I think the last 5 games or something has been under 40. The last 3 games have been under 30. Fascinating.
Well, these
last
two teams,
overcast between these, the last overcast between these two teams was in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the opening line report was our number 1 NFL show.
Yeah.
No, better than it was.
The situation is these are not the your father's Baltimore-Pittsburgh matchup right now. These teams have new identities. Baltimore's always had a strong defense. We know the Steelers have always had a strong defense. The problem is Baltimore's defense is not good this year, okay? And they've lost some key pieces to that defense. One of them now resides in Pittsburgh and Patrick Queen. The other problem is that Pittsburgh took a major hit last week defensively. For people that don't follow the Steelers closely, and obviously I do, Alex Highsmith is an integral part of the Steeler defense. Why? Because he's the opposite end of the bookend with TJ Watt. Now, we know TJ Watt is always going to command the attention of the offensive line. The defensive scheme, the offensive schemes, the blocking schemes are going to try to double team him or chip him with an extra guy. And it opens things up for Alex Highsmith on the other side to bring the backside pursuit, to stop the run. The Steelers, he's going to be out indefinitely. That's a major blow to this defense. Let's talk about the offenses. The Steeler offense is not what we've seen in the last few years. They've had no offense since Big Ben was gone. And when Big Ben was there the last couple of years, the Steelers weren't throwing the ball, downfield. He was at the backside of his career. They were relying on that defense. Since Russell Wilson has taken over, the Steelers have scored 37, 26, and 28 points. Okay, that is a lot of points for the Pittsburgh Steelers based on past years. In Baltimore, as you said, nobody's been able to stop this offense. What I see happening in Pittsburgh on Sunday is a slugfest. And Pittsburgh, we know the history of Pittsburgh at home and Mike Tomlin, and they are being disrespected in, the point spread. They're the first place team and they're home underdog. You can't be any more disrespected than that. And trust me, Pittsburgh will play with that. But this is a team that is facing the best offense they have faced all year. Look down the schedule of who Pittsburgh has played. They've either played a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix early in the season. They played Kirk Cousins first week of the season when he was learning a new offense, new team, and was coming off a devastating injury from the season before. They played the Chargers with Justin Herbert, who was playing on one leg in that game. The Steelers have caught a lot of breaks against teams, and you saw Washington was able to move the football last week, and Baltimore is just a better version of that with that offense and a running quarterback. Looking at over in this one, I think the team that wins this game, Prez, is definitely going to be in the 30s. I'm going over 48 for the free play here.
So are you worry at all about Lamar Jackson's track record against the Steelers? He's had worse numbers against Pittsburgh than any other team in the league. The only team in the league that he has more interceptions in his career than touchdowns. Only has 4 touchdown passes in his career against Pittsburgh, despite the fact that he faces them twice a year. So Tomlin has been able to design defenses to flummox Lamar Jackson in the past. Does that worry you looking at an over here in a game that has to get to 7 touchdowns to cash?
If you're going to look at history, Ted, Absolutely, because they've done that. But I'm getting professional here, Ted.
What the hell is a TED?
About that one. We could have a TED talk. This is a spot, though. The Steeler defense, Teddy, is not the same. Okay, and he's going to have even more time to make plays. To wait for them to develop in the secondary, because as I said, with the injury to Highsmith, or he's going to be able to run the ball in this one. And if I'm running and I'm Lamar Jackson, you know where I'm running? I'm running to the side of the field that would have been occupied by Highsmith. I'm running away from TJ Watt and going to the other side. In the Steelers secondary, although, you've got Minkah Fitzpatrick back there, it's not the same secondary as we've seen in past seasons. I think that they're vulnerable to the deep pass, and I think Lamar Jackson's going to connect on some of those. And you know how these games go. If you hit a couple big plays early, it sets the tempo for the whole game, and then all of a sudden teams are trading points. This is one of those ones, if we're sitting at a 3-0 game and we're deep into the first quarter, then I'm going to be feeling real bad, because then we're reverting to the old style Baltimore Steeler games. But I just don't see it with these two teams in their current conditions.
Yeah, and I don't see it either, Marco. I spoke about this game in great detail on the NFL presidential address, and I gave out the over as well. And really, the only thing that kept me away from putting my house on this freaking game is that head-to-head matchup, which I can't explain, but it does happen. Really well handicapped, Marco. Great stuff. So now, just want to remind everybody, I am killing it in every sport. Teddy is rolling as well, and Marco is literally about to rain on our parade.
Guys, it's been a really good run. It's been a good 2024, but last week was really fun. We ran that birthday promotion, and we got everybody on a big discounted price tag for the week, and we delivered. We're on a 13-2 run with all plays. We hit another 5% play. It was the New Orleans Saints who were my 5% play last week, and they snapped a 7-game losing streak to get us the 5% winner, which we're now 15-3 on those plays since February, 13-2 on all plays the last 15 selections. Going to give you a deal again this week. Not as good as last week's, but you know what? You got extra money in your pocket. Normally $99 for a 7-day package. If you use coupon code MARCO20, I'm going to give you a $20 discount. You'll get it for $79. 7 days, all sports, all plays, and yes, a 5% play coming your way this weekend. $35 on those by themselves. Head on over to WagerTalk.com to pick that package up.
Marco D'Angelo, thanks for joining us. Best of luck this week. Teddy covers. I'm curious. We all know, and we knew, and we expected a quarterback change happening in Indy. Strike'em has now said it's for the rest of the season. So it's Anthony Richards' time, do or die, until the end of this year. I don't care what happens 2 weeks from now. I care about what happens now. We got to find bets. So what did bettors learn last night?
Well, the change was made yesterday, obviously. Anthony Richardson, the new old starting quarterback for Indy, Joe Flacco, goes back to the bench. The first-time head coach, you mentioned Shane Steichen. And we can consider, remember, Steichen was the offensive coordinator in Philadelphia, Jonathan Gannon, the defense coordinator in Philadelphia for the Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl and lost, was it an overtime? Lost in that dramatic game against KC. Gannon arrived in Arizona with a quarterback, Kyler Murray, and he's built around him. Steichen arrived in Indy without a quarterback. And, well, they still didn't have a quarterback. Anthony Richardson was a project, all right? You knew that when you drafted him. And yes, it was Shane Steichen who was involved in the draft decision to pick up Anthony Richardson. With project quarterbacks, you have to let them go through their growing pains. Find out if they're any good in a year or 2 or 3 or 5. He played 4 games as a rookie last year, got hurt. Had a couple of starts this year, got benched. Now he's back in the lineup again. This is not on Anthony Richardson. This is a team/organization that needs to make a plan. Are you rebuilding or contending? Those are the only two options. And what we've seen this season is Indy has no plan. Their report. The team's messaging during recent weeks had resulted in some confusion, with Stipe initially saying the move to Flacco was made to give the team the best chance of winning and was intended to be for the remainder of the season. All right. Project quarterback, you rebuild. Flacco, you try to make the playoffs. But they're not good enough to win anything. So it doesn't matter. They get to the playoffs. Okay, you may not have a playoff season. It's not going to be a Super Bowl season for Indy. They know that. It's not good enough to win anything. In my opinion, this is how you draft. You need a quarterback next year. This year, you take the left tackle. Year 2, you draft the quarterback. Year 3, you draft the playmaker. Period. That's how Indy did it the first time with Peyton Manning. The Colts aren't there yet. We talked about them as the sell-high team on Bet on It a few weeks back when they were 7-1 against the spread their first 8 games. 0-2 straight up and against the spread since. I'm not changing my sell prognosis after the latest quarterback change. And, of course, the Raiders went back to Gardner Minshew again yesterday, but that's a whole nother what bettors learned. Lawrence, back to you, my friend.
Teddy covers. So what do you have going for the clients tonight?
Nothing. A big fat passola. There's one game in the NBA I didn't play.
Yeah.
There's one game in the NFL I didn't play. There's one game in college football I didn't come close to playing. So we'll take the day off for client plays.
Wait a minute. You're not playing on tonight's game?
I am not.
Any thoughts?
I do. In fact, I've done a video on this game for Bet on It. I just tweeted it out before the show started. You can check that out right now on my Twitter page at Teddy_covers, on YouTube, on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, or I think it's on my site as well, wt.buzz/TC.
So just to summarize, guys, you're not good enough to hear Teddy's thoughts unless you take time out of your day to go visit another video. Even though you're on this video right now waiting, nope. Bet on it, bitches. Okay. So no thoughts from Teddy on this video. Yes, there we go. What do I have tonight? I'm in play on the NFL game. I got a bet for you guys. I also have 2 NHL bets and 1 college basketball bet. Teddy, I almost did it again last night, brother. I had a plus 16.5 dog that got to 1990 with like less than a minute to go in the game. I was like, oh my God, am I going to cash another insane dog on the money line? Well, they lost by 3. Still covered my college basketball. Man, college basketball has been good to me for 3 straight years. Anyway, Kyle Anthony is joining us. Kyle, you excited about John Bones coming back? Like, why? I mean, like, I'm sick of this guy.
No, listen, he should be fighting. I'll talk way too long about how he should be fighting Tom Aspinall for the interim belt. But besides for that, he's the GOAT. He's the current heavyweight champ. So I got to respect it.
Okay. Before we get anywhere else, what did you do that you were banned from John Jones's Twitter? What did you do, Kyle? Did you have sex with his wife? What did you do?
All I did, first of all, I don't talk derogatory to fighters online. That I don't really do that stuff. Whether I win or lose bets, that doesn't have any bearing on it. But all I said was John Jones under a post. He had said, there's nobody worth me fighting to stay around for after this fight on Saturday night. And I just said there's an interim champion and he has a name. And I got like 5,000 likes on it. Next thing you know, I'm blocked from him. So that's so kind of ridiculous.
Okay. Well, listen, let's get into it. He's fighting this week, and he's fighting Stipe, or Stipe, or Stiperuski, whatever you want to call him. How are you betting this fight?
All right. Well, you got the current champion in John Jones. He is a big minus 700 on the comeback here. You've got Stipe Miocic. He is the former champion at plus 475. Now, this line is wide and for probably all the right reasons here. I mean, John Jones should have him covered anywhere this fight goes, but really the main path for him, I believe, is going to be the wrestling. He's going to need to look to the wrestling, push forward, not give Stipe the chance to land the big shot, and really just smother him. And you saw what he did in his most recent fight against Cyril Gane, where John Jones, right out the gate, goes out there and looks for level changes. In the first 2 minutes, he secured 2 takedowns and got the submission finish. And I do think that's where he's going to go with this. He doesn't want to stand and kickbox with someone like Cyril Gane. He doesn't want to just box with someone like Stipe Miocic. He's going to look for those takedowns. Now, on the feet, Stipe definitely has a puncher's chance, but, I think it's just basically that. At this point, I really think that John Jones is going to be able to work his range, work his striking, utilize the 4-inch reach advantage. He's got much better footwork than Stipe, and I think his range, his front kicks, all those things are so much better. Plus, Stipe, very slow plodding style of footwork where I think John Jones can chop at the legs, look for takedowns, do whatever he wants to do. But the biggest red flags on the Stipe side really come from his inactivity. And the last time he even stepped in the cage was back in 2021 against Francis Ngannou when he was knocked out in the second round. The last time that Stipe even won a fight was back in 2020 against Daniel Cormier, and Daniel Cormier has been in the broadcast booth for years. I think this is there's a lot of ring rust here on Stipe, and I think also you got to add in the fact now he's 42 years old. There were just so many things up against him. So getting off this minus 700 number here, I do think that John Jones has to put a stamp on this. To our point that we were just kind of talking about, I think that he has to really run through him. So much talk about Tom Aspinall. I do like John Jones to get the job done inside the first 3 rounds. Right now at FanDuel, it's got around minus 145. I think it's a great price, and I think it's a likely path for him to get it done early.
But Jones, take care of business early. UFC Saturday night. We'll talk about the undercard matchup in just a minute. You wanted to talk about Tybura versus Diniz, but I got to ask you, this exhibition fight, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, first of all, I mean, are you in play on the fight? If you are, you don't have to give too much, but talk about that fight for just a minute for us. I know it'd be a shame for our viewing audience if we didn't at least bring it up. Is it something that's worthy of a wager, perhaps?
From this whole rise from Jake Paul, I have always said to people, when he's fighting whoever, whether it's an ex-MMA fighter or it's somebody, that's a celebrity, whatever it may be, I always say this is the Jake Paul show. This is a circus, but this is the Jake Paul show. And that's a guy that's worth betting throughout this. There's been a lot of leverage to him. This is a spot where I think it's finally could be, yes, Tyson is old. I am not playing this fight. But I think that you have to look at the plus money here. I don't want to pay up on Jake Paul in a fight against Mike Tyson. I get it. He's old. There's footage of him that looks good for Tyson, all these things. If I was to pick a side, I got to go Mike Tyson. I got to go. It's like plus 200, depending where you're shopping it. And I just think that he can look to move forward. And someone's going to get knocked out. I think it's going to be Mike Tyson pushing forward, throwing the bigger shots.
Yeah, Kyle, I'm going to throw my thoughts in here. I could not disagree with you anymore.
I know.
So look, I'm no Jake Paul guy. I've got no skin in the game. But man, we saw Mike Tyson fight 5 years ago or in the middle of COVID somewhere on Jake Paul's card. I think he fought Trevor Berbick. I don't remember. Dude couldn't move. He couldn't punch. He was so old. Mike Tyson must be so broke to put his legacy on the line and get his head knocked off by a man in his prime. Plus 140, Jake Paul, TKO. There is no other way to bet this fight. Mike Tyson is a decrepit old man. Teddy?
Tyson's older than me, for what it's worth.
Yeah, and you're a decrepit old man.
Exactly. Let's talk about the second fight, Tybura and Diniz. What are we going to do with this one?
All right. So in this fight here, you've got Marcin Tybura here. He's a UFC veteran. He's going to look to push forward in a grinder. On the other side, you've got Jonathan Diniz, who is an undefeated kickboxer coming over from Glory Kickboxing. Now, when people hear Glory Kickboxing, right away they start to think about Alex Pereira. They start to think about Israel Adesanya. They came over from that same organization and had a ton of success. Now, going back and watching a lot of, Diniz's past fights, he's touted as this high-level kickboxer, and I just don't see it. I don't really see what he does well. He's got decent striking. He's got some decent low kicks. His footwork, I guess, is okay. But the giant red flag on Diniz is the fact that he has not good takedown defense and bad grappling. And that lines up with the exact thing that Tybura is going to want to do here. And if you look back at Diniz, his debut fight against Austin Lane is not good. And even in the first round, he was able to secure a takedown and literally bank the entire round on top of Diniz. Lane has no submission ability, no cardio, and he got knocked out in the second round. He was exhausted. And even against Carl Williams against Diniz, Carl Williams is a wrestler who doesn't have striking, still somewhat landed, but he waited until the third round to start to wrestle, and he found success in the third round. Now, that is exactly, again, what Tybura is going to want to do. He's going to look to push forward. He's going to look to smother you, push you up against the fence, dirty box. And then from there, I do think that it's going to do a couple things. I think the first thing it's going to do is it's going to open up some level changes, I think, for Tybura to really kind of grind him and get the takedowns, but also work on the cardio. I think he's really going to train the gas tank up the knees, really, really start to soften him up. And I think that's where he can bank rounds or find that finish. So in this spot here, I am not on the Diniz hype at all. I do think that Tybura and the way that he fights really lines up perfectly with the weakness of Diniz. So give me Marcin Tybura around that -135, -140 number.
Kyle, I think you break down these fights better than anybody, dude. This is really, really talented stuff. Well done. And not only that, more importantly, it's one thing to break down a fight. It's another to break it down correctly. 71 units in MMA, #1 ROI, although I don't like that term, the way we do it. I will die on that mountain. #1 ROI.
Yeah, many times already.
Yeah, well, I know I'm right, Teddy, and we can have a whole bloody show about that. I don't need your help. Kyle, what do you got to promote?
All right, so this weekend, I will actually be at Madison Square Garden for this event, so I'm excited to watch these bets play out. But I do have a 5% best bet play up right now, 12-1 on the year on those as well. And as you said, Prez, 71 units here. We've got 4 events left in 2024. We're going to finish off strong and another profitable year in the bag.
There we go. Kyle Anthony, everyone. Teddy covers lots of shows. Still your big game breakdown. Dave Sharapan. And I just want to make a quick announcement, guys. There will no longer be a penalty box segment. Well, we ended it well. 2-1 yesterday with a +170 dog on Utah. However, I am going to be now doing a daily presidential address where I will take apart one hockey game in great detail. Today's will be Minnesota and Montreal. Teddy covers. What's your big game breakdown?
Let's talk about Texas and Arkansas. Early start Saturday college football on ABC. Right now, look at the free WagerTalk Live odds screen. We're seeing money for the Razorbacks. Texas down to -13. It opened in the 15 range. Total 57.5. Again, early start Saturday action. Texas is really good. We know that. 8-1. They're ranked #3 in the college playoff rankings. They're an elite team. You got Quinn Ewers and some kid named Manning getting lots of headlines at quarterback. But the defense for the Longhorns has really been there where they've hung their hat this season. It's been an elite defense all year long. Their only loss came to Georgia, which is certainly nothing to be ashamed of, except that they were non-competitive in defeat against them while Alabama beat the Bulldogs. When we're comparing the elite teams, Alabama, Texas, well, right now Texas is higher in the rankings. I'm not convinced that'll be the case at the end of the year. They certainly have an elite defense, an elite offense, elite playmakers. Sark's in his 4th year. They reached the playoffs. They were 12-1 last year. Texas team is not a team to step in front of on whim lightly. And yet I'm going to remember the point spread is always the great equalizer. Texas schedule, let's be real. Colorado State, Michigan's way down. UTSA, UL Monroe. That's their non-conference slate. So they had one step-up game, Michigan, but Michigan's not any good this year. In SEC play, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Vandy, and Florida. That's their 4 wins. You could argue those are the 4 weakest teams or 4 of the weakest teams in the SEC. Their only step-up game all year was Georgia, and they got blown out in that game. They were never in it. Arkansas has stepped up. They played Ole Miss. They played Tennessee. They played LSU. They played Texas A&M. They're 3-1 against the spread in those games. Arkansas off a bye. That means they get QB Taylor Green, who's healthy once again. Texas defense, sure, they're elite. Number 1 in yards per play allowed. Number 2 in total defense. But they haven't faced a lot of good offenses yet. Arkansas's offense is good. 11 in the country yards per play. Now 5 in total offense. All right. Pittman is a road dog. 3-0 against the spread this year. 12-3 against the spread the last 5 years since he got to Fayetteville. He won at Auburn. They hung tough at A&M. They hung tough at Okie State. Sharp money has been on the dog here for a good reason. I expect a battle, not a blowout, in early start action on Saturday. Give me the Hogs, the Razorbacks, plus the points against the Texas Longhorns. We appreciate the likes very much. We appreciate the follows very much. We appreciate the comments very much. Thanks so much for watching WagerTalk TV. Lawrence?
Teddy covers. Let's keep it going. Do we have Dave Sharapan?
Hey! What's
So
Hey!
you like the Steelers against Baltimore? Is that what's going on right now?
It's good to see both of you. Yeah, I do. Like I've been talking about this stuff all week and been listening to how good the Ravens are and how good the Steelers aren't. So I said I'm going to go see Theodore and Teddy on Thursdays for no drama. And I heard you talking about ROI. I can't even believe you could even spell ROI. And I
don't even know what you're implying. I literally was the founder of WagerTalk. I think I've demonstrated incredible, astute brain power.
that all withstanding, I don't think you can spell. And I've seen your writing, and it's terrible. Okay,
No,
your penmanship is
my right.
terrible.
Yeah, Dave, don't be a dick. Okay. Well,
I love that
Dave,
stop sign.
Dave.
Go ahead. What? Are you not doing hockey anymore? What is this big change?
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
I
doing
heard I was
hockey,
waiting.
dude. I'm kicking ass in hockey. Stay tuned after the show. I got some hockey picks. Listen, let's get into
Hockey's been good.
Dan, your pal, tells me that
Yeah.
you got some serious thoughts on the old decrepit man against the YouTuber. How
Oh my
are you
gosh.
betting this fight?
Oh, I can't believe this. So I watched the 3 hype shows on Netflix. And
Yep.
I watched it with my wife and my 10-year-old daughter, little Kinsey. And they immediately want to see Jake Paul get punched in the mouth multiple times by a 58-year-old guy. And I remember Tyson, as we all do, wrecking everybody. And I mean, I used to see Tyson at the M all the time, training and like in between training sessions and different things. So I kind of have seen Mike not in that mode. Man, they're betting this thing. Apparently, from the guys I've talked to, they're betting Tyson over and over and over. Numbers down to like minus 220 in some places. And I'm going, I don't know. This is one of those things that it's 8 rounds, it's 2-minute rounds, and it's big 16-ounce gloves. And nobody's getting knocked out. Let's bet over. I think that's the only play. As far as picking a winner, it might be a TV show, but I think the over is the play. Now, books are all over the place on this thing. 4.5, 5.5, 6.5. There's Glass Joe and Mike Tyson. That's an unbelievable picture of a graphic to remind everybody of this fight. I can't believe he's actually betting on it, to be perfectly honest,
So,
Prez. I wouldn't even
so-
take bets on it if we were running a
Teddy.
book. I wouldn't do it.
Teddy, I'm jumping in quick. So just to clarify, you watched a 3-episode documentary with your beautiful wife and daughter,
Yes.
and instead of cheering for the social media influencer, they want to see him get knocked out by the rapist.
It's unbelievable how
Yeah, so
how some people
the
see certain
rapist-
things.
The 2 women you watched this thing with wants to see the rapist win. Is that what we're hearing?
I guess. I don't know. Like, I
Okay.
never watched
Teddy,
the
go
Paul's
ahead.
videos. I never watched those shows and all this other stuff. People don't like him. A lot of people don't like him. They just don't. I don't
Dan,
know.
I'm not mentioning that. Teddy, go ahead.
Yeah. That's enough airtime. We broke down the fight. Let's talk some football. Thursday night, tonight.
Yeah.
Commanders, Eagles. We've seen a lot of money for the home team. Philly riding that 5-game winning streak, but none of them came against opponents with winning records. How do you break it down? Thursday night football, Commanders and Eagles. Right now, what are we looking at? 4 and 49/49.5, the prevailing numbers.
So it's Eagles or nothing, right? At this point, I think the rhombuses and parallelograms waited until today to show their hand. Move the number from the 3.5s. They're gone. They're obliterated. Books are at 4, and the books will probably end up needing Washington for a pretty big number. Now, the total's interesting to me because the total's almost as high as last Thursday's game between two division rivals with a little bit different circumstance. I mean, they both need the game, but both of these teams are going to make the playoffs, I think. So it's not like Cincy's playing for life or death like they were last Thursday. The total, it seems too high. But again, I think this game plays out a little more like that game did. Now, well, there's not going to be 69 points and 35-34 final, but I think we can get over this total. My initial thought on Monday was like, I don't know. I think you may have shot a little bit high with the number, but I'm starting to lean into a little bit of Eagles and over tonight.
Dave Sharapan at SportsBK Consig on Twitter, the Sportsbook Consigliere. Dave, of course, has been a fixture on the Las Vegas betting scene, a former odds maker, now someone who really has his thumb on the pulse of what's going on in town. You talked that you like the Steelers. You talked that you like Eagles/over tonight. Anything else stand out to you? What are you hearing? What are you seeing around town when it comes to this Week 11 NFL slate?
Well, I got my notes right here ready for I'm trying to do this in 1 minute to keep it tight so we can still get a presidential address. Swing around the league. So, newbie, get ready from the top of the board down if you want to do the graphics. Packers and Bears. I can't believe they bet the Bears. They bet the Bears again. Like they're going to keep doing it. That's going to end up being Packers and all the teasers. And listen, they can have the Bears if they want them. They're a complete mess. Browns and Saints. Who in the hell can make a favorite in this game? And get any plus, a money line, plus a point or anything, it's got to be Cleveland. Rams and Patriots. If you didn't see enough on Monday night of the Rams, you want to come back on them more and lay points on the road in an outdoor stadium with a team that's playing good defense. The game's a dead under, lean to the dog. Ravens and Steelers, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I'm sleeping in Pittsburgh gear. I'm wearing Pittsburgh gear. Everywhere I go, I like Pittsburgh. I don't care what the line is. They're going to win the game. Raiders and Dolphins, that's for people that really like to bet or need football in their life. Jags and Lions, that's another one that's got to be. I mean, you find a reason to take Jacksonville, you can find a reason to do anything. Vikings and Titans, probably going to get a pass in most places in that one. Titans, again, they're the worst team in the league against the spread. The sharp guys will find a reason to take them. Good luck. Seahawks and Niners, a really good divisional game. Over. The Niners are back. You saw CMC. Falcons and Broncos, don't know. Want to find a reason to take Atlanta in that one. The game of the week, the Chiefs and the Bills. Can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to hear everyone on Monday talk about how could you bet against Patrick Mahomes again? Because they're going to win. No, they're not. I like the Bills. I know the numbers too, and I know you're going to go, what, Dave? You're going to like against KC and Mahomes? Yes. Bengals and Chargers Sunday night. Hello. Great game. Chargers haven't allowed more than 20 points in a game. Leads you to the under. Don't fall for it. Sunday night football games go under. I think the Bengals are live. I think the game goes over. Colts and Jets, good luck. They changed the quarterback, and I don't know what to make of that. I'm telling people for weeks to bet against the Jets. I don't know if I could completely advocate for that, but if you're getting at least 4, I think you're okay. The Colts will end up being the side. That's it, boys.
Jesus, Dave Sharapan, that was your best segment ever. What? I mean,
No drama, Press. Thank you.
minus the fact that I do disagree with you in some of your picks. It was
That's fine.
spectacular.
Listen,
Dude.
that's why we have disagreement. We have discourse. The way of the world, it goes around when we disagree, but we can listen and appreciate the argument.
Okay. Lots of love. Kumbaya. Dave, 30 seconds. What do you like in college football? Anything in NHL tonight? Real quick, we got to call it a day.
Well, I can't wait to hear you talk about Minnesota in the hockey.
You mock
college
me.
Football. No, I don't. No. If I say you're or golf, then you know I'm mocking you. No. Kansas and BYU is the game of the week for me. I don't know why. BYU is a short favorite. Just keep that one circled because a lot of the rhombuses and parallelograms are on the Kansas Jayhawks. It's not a basketball game, boys and girls. Kansas is a really good college basketball team. I think BYU is going to win and keep the train alive to get to the playoff. Prez, good luck with your presidential address. Theodore, your hair looks amazing, and your big game breakdown was outstanding. Thank you again for all the likes and the opportunity to see you every Thursday. Goodbye.
Teddy.
Lawrence?
No,
slack. You said me. Yeah,
and then I said
me.
Get it together, boys.
Teddy, you close the show and then you throw to me. We do this every day. Tell him, Dave Sharapan.
Which is why I was surprised when you said me. Okay. The last thing I saw was me. You said 5 texts. The last one was me. That means you talk. Dave, thank you so much for joining us at SportsBK and Sig on Twitter. Tell us what else you have to promote right now.
Bostonian versus the book every day. We're coming up today. We had a guy on from a sport book yesterday, a guy from a sport book today. He'll give us sharp action reports and all that other crap. It's on Monday through Friday, 11:30 p.m. a.m. Pacific. Sports Grid, Sirius XM every night from 5 to 7. Big game day, big pregame show tonight is at 4 o'clock, and then Cash Considerations is back in the mix. Goodbye!
That's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition of WagerTalk Today. We'll do it again, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east, teaching every weekday. So we'll do it again tomorrow. Between now and tomorrow's show, you guys know what to do. Give us likes, give us follows, give us comments, and enjoy the games. Good luck with all your bets. Stay tuned right now for whatever Lawrence wants to do to close out the show.
Welcome, everybody, to your daily presidential address. I'm Lawrence Presman, and I'm going to take apart the Minnesota Wild Montreal Canadiens game. Before we get into that, if you like this video, please take a second out of your day and hit that like button. And guys, if you're not playing my college basketball right now, ask yourself, do I like money? If the answer is yes, please play my college basketball. I dominated 2 years ago. I destroyed the books last year, and I'm off to an 11-4 start this season. I'm also killing it in NHL as well. I'm on a 10-1 run in 3% plays. I have one up tonight. Tonight's card for my clients, 2 hockey plays, 2 college basketball plays, and a bonus NFL play. Please grab those. Okay, so how are we going to bet this Montreal-Minnesota game? I mean, for me, I look at this game and I think it has to go over the total. The bottom line is the total here is 6, not 6.5, and that's a very big deal. Anytime there is a 6 on board with a Montreal in a Montreal game, I'm going to look to take it over. The bottom line is this Montreal team has 0 goaltending. I mean, I actually don't know if there's a goalie in their net. They also have very little defense. When all is said and done, this will be a bottom 3 team in the entire league in preventing goals. Where are they now, you ask? They are literally the worst team in all of hockey in preventing goals. San Jose is the second worst team in preventing goals. They have allowed an average of 3.8 goals a game. The Montreal Canadiens, 4.1 goals against. Not only are they the worst in the league, they are the worst by a mile. And that won't change against Minnesota. You go through the Habs' last 10 games, and they have allowed 5 goals, 4 goals, 5, 3, 3, 6, 8, 3, 2, and 7. Those are terrible, terrible numbers. And they're playing a Minnesota team that can score. I mean, I listen, Minnesota is 7th in the league in scoring. They're averaging around 3.5 goals per game. I know they only just put up 1 against Chicago, but this Wild team put up 5 the game before and 5 the game before that. They are getting to 4 goals tonight. Now, I understand that they do have one of the best defenses in hockey right now, only allowing 2.5 goals per game. But Montreal's going to eat. This Montreal team, although not a high-scoring team, they're getting their goals. They're going to get at least 2 tonight. Now, guys, I want to make a statement here. I really like the over 6 in this game, but I also really like the over in the Minnesota Wild team total. They're going to get us to 4 goals here. I have no issue if you make both those bets. So if you're going to make, say, a $100 bet on this over, split it in half. Put 50 on the Minnesota Wild team total over and put 50 on the game over. That's how I'm going to attack it. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's your daily presidential address.